And then I remember hitting, and then my head got hit. But then I got dragged out, and the car went over, and I went over the back of the car, and then pulled face down on the runway, about 50 metres underneath the car. And then it hit the grass and then flipped back in.
Andrew Flintoff's life was changed dramatically after a terrifying crash while filming for Top Gear in December 2022. The incident left him severely injured and disfigured, with gruesome images of his face after the crash being published for the first time in a documentary released by Disney. These harrowing pictures, taken immediately after he arrived at St. George's Hospital in Tooting via air ambulance, show the extent of his injuries. His upper lip was torn off, exposing a tooth and leaving raw, blood-coated flesh beneath a layer of grit and stubble. The graphic images are a stark reminder of the trauma Flintoff experienced that day. The crash occurred while Flintoff was driving a Morgan Super 3, a three-wheeled sports car that can reach speeds of up to 130 miles per hour. Flintoff wasn't wearing a helmet when the car flipped and crashed during filming at the Dunsfold Aerodrome in Surrey. Despite the car's roll bars, which were designed to protect passengers in the event of a rollover, Flintoff sustained severe facial injuries and broken ribs. He recalls the terrifying moment when the car began to flip, fearing that he would either break his neck or die depending on how he landed. His thoughts turned to survival as the car overturned, and he braced for the inevitable impact. In the immediate aftermath, Flintoff thought he had lost his face entirely, a fear that stemmed from the blood he saw when he lifted his hat off his eyes after the crash. He was terrified that he no longer had a face and felt overwhelmed by the extent of his injuries. He admitted to having wished for death at one point during the excruciating pain, even though he did not want to take his own life. The severity of the situation left him questioning whether he had the strength to make it through. The psychological trauma from the accident proved to be just as debilitating as the physical wounds. Flintoff revealed that the memory of the crash haunted him, replaying in his mind like a movie. The trauma kept him housebound for 6 to 8 months, with the only reason for leaving the house being medical appointments and surgeries. Flintoff reflected on his time in the spotlight and the dangers associated with television, particularly in a show like Top Gear, where extreme stunts were encouraged to capture the attention of viewers. He shared that the pressure for bigger and more thrilling stunts led to risky situations, where his safety was often compromised. Flintoff felt as though he was treated as a commodity in the same way athletes are, expected to deliver ever more thrilling content for the audience. During his recovery, Flintoff faced the additional challenge of dealing with the impact of his injuries on his family. His wife, Rachel Woles, and their 4 children were understandably affected by the accident. Flintoff recalled how his youngest child, just 3.5 years old, was frightened of his disfigured face and avoided getting close to him. This broke Flintoff's heart, as he longed for his family's support during such a difficult time. Rachel, too, had to manage the emotional burden, first receiving the news of the accident and then preparing their children for the sight of their father's injuries when they visited him in the hospital. She spoke about how she had to keep her composure, reassuring Flintoff that everything would be okay, even though she was deeply shaken by the sight of him. Rachel's strength didn't end there. When the children finally saw their father, she told them not to react in a shocked or horrified manner so as not to further distress Flintoff. This was a tough decision for Rachel, but she did it out of concern for Flintoff's emotional well-being during his recovery. Flintoff, on the other hand, admitted that the psychological strain from his disfigurement was harder to handle than the physical pain. He felt immense shame and sadness over the change in his appearance, and the fact that he could no longer eat properly or speak in the way he used to added to his emotional distress. However, despite the dark thoughts that plagued him, Flintoff eventually found solace in his recovery process, particularly through his return to cricket. The road to recovery wasn't easy, but with the support of his family and friends, as well as the encouragement of Rob Key, a close friend and the England and Wales Cricket Board (ECB) director, Flintoff gradually re-entered the world of cricket. Rob invited him to watch matches from a private setting, away from the public eye, where Flintoff could slowly ease back into the sport he loved. His reintroduction to cricket wasn't just physical but also emotional, as he began to reconnect with teammates and rediscover his sense of purpose. During a one-day international match against New Zealand, Flintoff was filled with anxiety and doubt, unsure of his place in the cricketing world. It took him several attempts to leave his hotel room, but once he did, the support from his teammates made all the difference. Players like Reece Topley, Jos Buttler, Joe Root, and Johnny Bairstow welcomed him back with open arms, offering comfort and understanding. As Flintoff continued to recover, he worked his way back into coaching, first with England's under-19 team and later with the senior team and the England Lions. Cricket became his anchor, helping him regain his confidence and sense of identity. Despite the physical and psychological scars left by the accident, Flintoff found healing through his involvement in the sport, which had always been a huge part of his life. However, the lingering effects of the crash continue to affect Flintoff on a daily basis. He still struggles with his altered appearance and the emotional scars of the accident, but he has come to terms with the fact that his life will never be the same. Flintoff's journey of recovery and self-discovery is a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. His story is a reminder that, even when everything seems lost, there is always the potential for healing and growth.
I have moments where I forget. I'm just living. And it's so nice. And then you just get a stark reminder. You know, I get a feeling on my face because it's all tight and it's different. I've got no teeth or something fall out of my mouth as I'm eating.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more updates on celebrity deaths.